How you doing, good people? This is the 8-Bit Animal. And Atari did a lot of experimental stuff in the 80s, particularly in the arcades. I can't speak. After their home business fell apart with the crash of 83, Atari was struggling a wee bit. I mean, we who know. And Atari was down bad. And they had stuff, they did a lot of interesting stuff. Some of it worked out, like Gauntlet, and Today's Game, and Vindicators, and Paperboy, and stuff like that. A lot of it didn't. And some of their decisions outside of the arcade realm, like their little spat with Nintendo that led to them doing the unlicensed game thing with their home console arm, Tengen. That was an ugly time. But an interesting thing kind of rose from that. Every now and then, Atari arcade titles would get developed by Tengen and released and published by other publishers. Today's Game is an example of that. Today's Game is also interesting because as much as it was celebrated in arcades, and on computers, it was maligned on the NES. And its arcade influence led to it being celebrated by Nike. We'll talk about that in a bit. Today, we're going to take a look at 720 Degrees. Now, 720 Degrees, or 720 as I knew it because I didn't know what that little degree sign meant when I was a little kid. You play as a random dude in this NES port. He's just wearing green. He looks like the dude the kid from Treasure Master, honestly. Wonder. Anyway. But yeah, he's a dude dressed in all green, and he's in this town, and there are these different events that he enters, and you have to earn enough money to buy a ticket to one of the big skate parks. And you do that by just skating around town doing tricks and not falling, and hurrying to an event. And you go to the events, and there are 4 events. Slalom, skateboard slalom. So you're on a downhill little course, and you have to go through the flags, like in skiing. There's a half pipe, a ramp, as it were, where you do tricks in a half pipe. Standard thing. There's a downhill course where you avoid obstacles and pitfalls and stuff and do tricks there. And then there was a jump course, which was just a series of jumps. You go down a ramp, you go downhill, you do a series of jumps. All of these courses are downhill, which, whatever. But, yeah. And the controls in the arcade version of the game were so unique that Tengen, who developed this, I think they might have had a hard time translating that to the NES. This game, it's one of many skateboarding titles that just had a hard time working well on the NES. And this one I don't know, it just didn't quite work. But a lot of people like it. not as many people like it is they do Skate or Die for some reason, because Skate or Die didn't really work out. The only instance of actual skateboarding that really works on the NES is the half pipe in Skate or Die 2. So half of that game works well. And the more you play this game, and you skate around and you earn money and you go buy new equipment and all this stuff, you build yourself up, the harder the game gets. And that's okay. It's supposed to. That's how video games work. They get progressively more difficult. But the controls in this one just don't pair well with what they want you to do, to me at least. But, what do I know? But yeah, fast forward though, somewhere in the early 2000s, I don't remember which era of Nike SB it was, but Nike's skateboarding line released a Nike Dunk based on this game, the arcade version rather. They also did one based on Skate or Die, and both of them are pretty hard to come by before, but now with resale prices being ridiculous, they're almost impossible to get now. Hey, what you gonna do? If you want yourself a copy of 720 on NES though, yeah, they're not stupid expensive, 10 to 20 bucks going price. Oh yeah, there was one more thing I forgot gameplay wise. If you dawdle too long between going to events, the message Skate or Die pops up on the screen, which means that this game precedes Skate or Die, and a swarm of bees attack you. It's nuts. Guess bees don't like skateboarders. But yeah, this game ain't expensive, and I'm glad it's not, because it's not the best skateboarding game. So yeah, if you like it, go get yourself a copy. I'm not gonna say that I would pay much for this game, so good thing it's cheap. This has been the 8-Bit Animal, and I'll catch you beautiful people tomorrow. Tomorrow. Yeah, this was Konami doing too much again, but it was compatible with the laser scope. Wait, who the hell bought the laser scope?